My ex thought I'd never find out the baby wasn't mine. Once I heard her say, "At least he's stable. I'll be fine," I didn't say a word. I just watched her build a life I was about to burn down. Hey Reddit, buckle up, because I've been sitting on this story for months, and it still messes with my head. So I, 29M, was with this girl, let's call her Maya, 27F, for a little over 2 years. We weren't perfect, but I thought we were solid. We lived separately but talked about moving in together. Talked about the future. Marriage even came up once or twice. Nothing serious. Just casual someday type stuff. Then one day, she drops the bomb. I'm pregnant. She said it like she was scared but also relieved. I stared at her, not saying anything, and she looked nervous, like she was waiting to see if I'd freak out. But I just smiled, hugged her, and told her we'd figure it out. Except inside, I felt like the air got sucked out of my lungs. See, what Maya didn't know, what no one knew, is that I can't have kids. I'm infertile. Got into a nasty accident in my early 20s. Didn't think much of it at the time, but a couple years later, after a routine checkup and some tests, the doctor laid it out flat. Low motility, low count, borderline 0. Natural conception is highly unlikely, he said. Honestly, I never told anyone. It was private, and I didn't want pity. And at the time, I figured, if it ever became an issue, I'd deal with it then. So yeah, Maya being pregnant? That was a problem. Now, I wasn't 100% sure. I know doctors aren't God. Maybe there was some miracle. Maybe the 1 in a million chance actually happened. But my gut? It didn't believe in miracles that day. Still, I didn't say anything. I wanted to be sure. I wanted proof. Then came the night that made everything crystal clear. She was in the kitchen, talking on the phone with one of her friends. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop or anything. I was in the hallway grabbing laundry, but her voice carried. And when I heard my name, I paused. She laughed, then said, "No, I don't love him. But what am I supposed to do? I'm pregnant. I can't do this alone." Another pause, then this. "He's stable. He's boring. Yeah, but dependable. And I know he'll step up. I'll be fine." Then a freaking giggle. Like she was joking. Like I was a life raft she didn't even want, but decided to cling to out of convenience. That was the moment. That exact moment where something in me went cold. I wasn't even angry. I just switched off. Like a part of me turned to ice. I went back to folding laundry like I didn't hear a thing. She didn't know it yet, but that night changed everything. I knew the baby wasn't mine. And I knew I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. No yelling. No screaming. No drama. Just a new plan. A quiet one. One where I played along. Until I didn't. After hearing that phone call, I didn't sleep that night. I just laid there next to her in bed, staring at the ceiling like some ghost. She curled up on me at some point, rested her head on my chest like I was her safe place or whatever, and I remember thinking, this is the last time you're getting comfort from me. But I still didn't say anything. That was the key. No reactions. No weird behavior. If I played it cool, she wouldn't suspect a thing. And the more she thought I was in love and locked in, the more careless she'd get. So I smiled. I made her breakfast the next morning. French toast, strawberries, syrup. She told me I was sweet. I kissed her forehead. Said, "Anything for my girls." She melted. And I filed that moment under evidence. She believes every word. Over the next couple weeks, I went full support mode. I offered to go to doctor's appointments with her. I ordered prenatal vitamins. I started keeping track of what she ate. Like, full fake dad mode. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, I was working. First, I got all my medical records together. The fertility diagnosis, lab tests, the follow-ups. Everything. I had that stuff scanned, backed up, printed out, double copied. Because if this thing went sideways, I needed proof. No, he said, she said. Just cold, medical reality. Then I got a separate bank account. Transferred most of my money. Opened a credit card in my name only. I started locking down anything joint-related. Told her it was baby stress budgeting. She didn't ask questions. She loved that I was being so responsible. Oh, and I bought a second phone. Cheap burner. Cash only. Because if I was going to investigate this whole thing, I needed a line that wasn't traceable to my name. Now, let's talk about the coworker. She'd mentioned this guy before, Blake. Office buddy. He's like a brother, yada yada. I had a face to go with the name. Met him once at a work party. Seemed all right. Not weird, not obviously flirty. Harmless. Except the more I started watching her, the more I realized how often Blake came up in conversation, how often he just happened to be texting, how she'd smile at her phone and flip its screen down when I walked into the room. So I started digging. Maya had a habit of leaving her laptop open. She didn't think twice about it. I was the boring, stable boyfriend, right? She was logged into everything: Messenger, Instagram, even WhatsApp. I didn't have to hack anything, just had to scroll. And wow, the things I found. They'd been sleeping together for months. Started as just drinks, turned into he kissed me and I didn't stop him. Then straight up, last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. No mention of me. No guilt. Nothing. At one point she literally texted him, I wish I could be with you, but I need something more stable right now. You know what I mean. Yeah, I knew exactly what she meant. I took screenshots. Dozens of them. Messages, dates, photos. I stored them on an encrypted flash drive and hid it in my car. Printed copies went in an envelope in my desk. Another in my safe. It wasn't just about catching her. I needed leverage. Because if she tried to flip the story on me later, I'd bury her lies with receipts. The weird part, pretending everything was fine became kind of fun. She'd walk into the room, glowing, talking about how excited she was to start our family, and I'd nod like a proud idiot. She started planning names, asked if we should move in together sooner, started showing me baby furniture. Every time she smiled at me like I was her future, I smiled back like I hadn't already started planning her exit. One night, I cooked us dinner, steak and garlic potatoes, her favorite. We drank sparkling cider since she was pregnant. Toasted to us. I took a photo of her laughing at the table, fork in her mouth, eyes closed. And I saved it. Because someday, she's gonna remember that night. The night she thought she had it all. The night she didn't realize I'd already decided to burn it down. So here's the thing about playing dumb. It's exhausting, but it works. I kept up the devoted boyfriend act. Every damn day. She thought I was nesting, cleaning the apartment, making space in the closet, reading parenting articles like some proud soon-to-be dad. I'd show her crib options and diaper bag reviews like I actually gave a damn. And every time, she'd look at me like I was her hero. Meanwhile, I was watching the clock tick down on her little fantasy world. Once I had all the proof I needed, I moved to phase 2, letting her build her own cage. I told her I wanted her to move in. For the baby. She lit up like I just handed her a diamond ring. Within a week, she had a toothbrush in my bathroom and a drawer full of clothes. She started leaving little notes around the apartment. Have a good day. Love, type stuff. She even started bringing groceries and cooking dinner like we were this Pinterest couple playing house. Every single time she walked in with takeout or made a playlist for the baby or curled up on my couch like she belonged there. I thought, you're building a home that's about to lock you in. And I made sure everything was in my name. She didn't notice. She thought I was being responsible with all the paperwork and bills and apartment stuff. She didn't see that her name wasn't on the lease, the utilities, the Wi-Fi, nothing. This wasn't our home. It was mine. She was just renting space in a future she didn't own. Now let's talk about Blake, the real dad. Remember that burner phone I bought? I used it to reach out anonymously, made a new email account, and sent him screenshots. Carefully selected, nothing illegal or creepy, just enough to get his attention. I said something like, you might want to talk to Maya about the baby. She hasn't been honest with either of us. No threats. No anger. Just truth, wrapped in curiosity. He didn't reply, but I saw him start showing up less in her messages. She started texting him more, stuff like, are you mad at me? Why are you being distant? And then the real kicker. We need to talk. Things are getting complicated. Oh yeah, I bet they are. Meanwhile, I convinced her to skip the paternity test. She mentioned it once, like, should we just do one to be sure? And I smiled, took her hands, and gave her this heartfelt, Oscar-worthy speech. I don't need a test. I trust you. I love you. This baby is ours. End of story. She actually teared up. She kissed me and said, you're gonna be such a good dad. I wanted to laugh in her face, but I didn't. I just held her and told her I loved her. Because the best revenge isn't yelling or crying or slamming doors. The best revenge is letting someone dig their own grave with a silver spoon, thinking it's a shovel for building a dream life. And now, the shovel's halfway buried. Because the next step is pulling the damn rug out from under her and watching her world collapse, one carefully timed truth at a time. So, I knew I couldn't just dump everything on her randomly. No. That's what amateurs do. If I was going to break this fantasy world of hers, this sweet little lie where she gets the stable boyfriend and the fun side guy while carrying someone else's kid, it needed to happen somewhere quiet, somewhere isolated, somewhere she couldn't run, spin the story, or cry to her friends for backup. So I booked a weekend getaway. Cute little Airbnb cabin, 3 hours out of town. Told her it was a baby moon, something relaxing before everything got crazy with the baby. She loved the idea. Started packing sweaters and face masks and books. She even brought a little Polaroid camera. We can make a scrapbook, she said. Sure, babe. Let's make some memories. The cabin was perfect. Peaceful. Cozy. No phone signal. No Wi-Fi. Just us, the trees, and the sound of her fantasy life collapsing in real time. The first night, I let it play out. We cooked dinner together, made cocoa, lit a candle, sat on the porch, and looked at stars. It was so normal, it was creepy. Like watching actors rehearse a scene I already knew the ending to. She even said, "I'm really happy we're doing this." I smiled and said, "Me too." The second night, I broke her. We were eating dinner. Pasta, garlic bread, wine. She had juice, obviously. She was talking about baby names again, rambling, joking about what if it's twins, and then she said something like, "I know this wasn't planned, but I really feel like this is meant to be." I nodded, wiped my mouth, and said, "Yeah, except I'm not the father." Her fork clinked against the plate. She froze, stared at me like she didn't hear it right. So I said it again, slower this time. "Maya, the baby isn't mine." "I know." At first, silence. Then laughter, awkward, nervous, like she thought I was joking. "Wait, what are you talking about?" "Of course you're the dad." And then I laid it out. I told her I've known for months, that I'm infertile, diagnosed a year before we even met, that I kept it private because it wasn't anyone's business. But the second she told me she was pregnant, I knew. I just wanted to see what she'd do. Her face went pale. "Wait, hold on." "What?" "No, you're wrong. I mean, things happen, right? People say that. You can't be certain." So I pulled out the manila envelope from under my chair. Inside, my medical records. Screenshots of her chats with Blake. Photos. Timelines. All printed. Highlighted. She didn't even open it. She just looked at it like it was a bomb someone had handed her. I said, "This is all the proof I need. I don't care if Blake knows. I don't care what you tell your family. But we're done." She finally snapped out of it. Tears. The full breakdown. Denial. Bargaining. "I was scared. I didn't mean for it to happen. But you're so good with me. I was going to tell you. All of it." And I sat there, stone cold. Didn't yell. Didn't cry. Just watched her unravel. When she asked what happens now, I told her this. "You're going to move out. I've packed your things. They're waiting at the door when we get home. You're not on the lease. You're not on the bills. You don't have access to my bank account. I've already updated everything legally. I don't owe you anything. And you're not taking anything from me." She just shook her head, whispering, "Oh my God, over and over." And then I stood up, blew out the candle, and said, "You're not a victim. You're just surprised I didn't roll over and take it." That night, she slept on the couch. In the morning, I drove us home in silence. Not one word between us. When we got back, her bags were already at the door, neatly packed, labeled. She walked out without saying a word, and I haven't seen her since. After she left, it was quiet. No drama. No shouting in the hallway. No phone calls begging me to reconsider. Just her gone. I thought maybe it'd feel triumphant, like I won. But it didn't. It just felt like walking out of a fire and realizing your clothes still smell like smoke. For a couple days, I moved through my apartment like I was visiting it. Every room reminded me of the version of me that used to live here. The guy who thought she loved him. The guy who thought he'd be a dad. That guy? He didn't exist anymore. And honestly, I wasn't sure who replaced him. I took some time off work. Cleaned everything. Scrubbed the place like I was erasing a crime scene. Because in a way, I was. This wasn't our place anymore. It was mine again. And I wanted to make damn sure no trace of her was left. Photos? Gone. Her mug? Thrown out. Pillow she liked? Burned. Okay, fine, donated. But burning would have been more satisfying. She tried texting me a couple times. "Can we talk? I just want to explain. I didn't mean for any of this." Left her on read. Then blocked her number. That was 3 weeks ago. Then, out of nowhere, I get a letter in the mail. Handwritten. From her. I almost tossed it in the trash, But curiosity got the better of me. The letter was long, messy, crossed out words, tear stains, probably fake. But it boiled down to this. She was sorry. She didn't plan for things to go the way they did. She panicked. She got scared when she found out she was pregnant and didn't know who to turn to. She chose me because I was safe. And now she realized too late that she actually loved me. She ended it with, "I know I messed everything up. But please, the baby deserves a father. Maybe we can talk. Maybe we can fix this." I sat with that letter in my hands for a long time. Then I folded it once, slid it back into the envelope, and dropped it in the drawer where I keep my spare batteries and old receipts. Junk. I didn't write back. Because here's the truth. She was right. The baby does deserve a father. A real one. Not someone she tricked. Not someone she used as a fallback when the real dad got cold feet. Not someone who was never even in the running to begin with. As for me, I don't want revenge. I don't want closure. I don't even want to see her face again. I just want peace. And for the first time in a long, long time, I finally have it. It's been 6 months now. I'd love to tell you I rebuilt my life overnight, hit the gym, traveled the world, came back with a six-pack and a beard like John Wick. But nah, real life doesn't work like that. What really happened? I sat with myself for a long time. Thought about how I missed signs. How I ignored my gut. How I let someone lie to my face because I wanted the lie to be true. That took some time to unpack. But eventually I did. I moved apartments, not out of anger, just a fresh start. Got a smaller place, fewer rooms, fewer ghosts. Started cooking for one. Bought a new couch that didn't have memories soaked into the cushions. My friends started inviting me out again. I actually started saying yes. And one night, maybe 2 months after everything, I found myself sitting at a rooftop bar with a beer in hand, laughing at something dumb, and I caught myself thinking, I don't miss her. Not even a little. That was the moment I knew I was finally out. As for Maya, well, word travels. A mutual friend mentioned she moved back in with her parents. Said she kept the pregnancy quiet after everything went down. No baby shower. No Instagram posts. No glowing maternity photos with fake deep captions about blessings. She tried to reconnect with Blake. He blocked her. Turns out he's not big on being tricked into accidental fatherhood either. Last I heard, she's figuring things out on her own. Which, to be clear, is exactly what she always should have done. Not my problem anymore. Sometimes I still think about her. Not in a bitter way. More like, a scar you forget is there until the light hits it just right. I think about the version of me that almost stayed. The guy who nearly signed up to raise another man's kid for someone who saw him as a safety net. And I think, he deserved better. So I gave it to him. Thanks for reading, Reddit. If you've ever been in a situation where your gut said one thing, but your heart begged for another, listen to your gut. It'll hurt less in the long run. As for me, I'm good. No drama. No baby. No wedding. Just peace. And a fridge full of garlic bread that I don't have to share with anybody.